Oh, well, I'm gonna just say welcome to you all anyway. I never really know what I'm gonna say when I go anywhere to talk, but I never talk to a room where I actually know so many of the people who are here, so it's even different this time. But a lot of you I don't know, and so welcome, and it's nice to see those of you I do, and hopefully I'll get to meet those of you I don't. I have a question for you. Why did you come here to Watkins? Why did you come here? What's your name? Yeah, that's cool. How many of you think you don't know what you want more than anything? If you were to know, if you could have anything you wanted, what would you have?
My health, I guess.
Mm-hmm. What would that be like for you if you had your health?
Liberating.
So would it be safe to say that the desire underneath your desire for health is to be liberated? To feel free?
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's bad to want to heal your body at all, actually. It's a great desire, but what would that give to you, you know? The essence of everything that I'm going to talk to you about, however it comes out, is best summed up by something that Jesus was supposed to have said when he said, seek first the kingdom of heaven, seek first your highest desire, and all else shall be given unto you, you know. This is not a Christian talk, right? I'm not a Christian minister, but that basically sums up how you should approach the rest of your life if you don't already approach it like that. Because if you don't know what you want more than anything, you might want to find out. You might want to figure that out. Because when you know what you want more than anything, the rest of the choices that you are asked to make every day of your life become easy and become clear. And things only get muddy and difficult when we don't know what it is that we want. You know? So if you don't know what you want, figure it out. I was really blessed because from the moment I can remember being able to think as a young child, the only thing I ever wanted was to... The way I would have put it into words would have changed as I grew and got more experience in life, but all I wanted to do was to give myself completely to my purpose, to give myself to service to God, to give myself to something higher than me. and that was the burning desire from when I was really little, and it motivated everything that I've ever done. And it hasn't always looked easy, and it hasn't always looked smooth, and yet it's what's brought me to this point. Because when you know what it is that you want, everything else gets clear. So if you don't know what you want, figure it out. Find out. It's an amazing thing though, because I was talking to somebody just yesterday, and that statement of Jesus's came up, you know, the kingdom of heaven is within, and it's now. Like everything that you want is within you and now. And seek it first. And somehow, that part of the message seems to have been missed along the way. It's become about other things for a lot of people. Now I'm only using this example because it's a part of my upbringing, but you can put any context on that you want. That to me, from the first time I heard it, all the hairs stood up on the back of my neck. I was like, what does that mean? And no one was ever able to tell me. I never found anybody, whether they were in or out of a religious context, that could tell me what that statement meant. The kingdom of heaven is within, and it's now, and seek it first. Because it seems to me that if you were going to follow in the footsteps of that teacher, you would make that your number one priority. Whatever the kingdom of heaven is for you, it's within you. It's now. It's not off in another space and time. It's within you now, and seek it first. That is, don't delay it for another second. Whether you call that peace, or freedom, or love, or joy, liberation, enlightenment, union with God, whatever that experience is for you, if you're not putting it first, you're delaying having the experience for yourself. And it's amazing because you can come to a place like this and you can pull any number of books off the wall and you can read about other people's experience of it. How they may or may not have gotten there. What it was like for them. All of it, but it's not your experience. And you have the opportunity in this lifetime to have that experience for yourself, and the first thing I want to offer to you is don't waste it. I'll tell you that it's absolutely possible, whatever your highest desire in your heart is, absolute freedom, liberation, union with God, it is more than possible. And that if you have the opportunity in this lifetime to actually have it as a living, ongoing experience. That's the invitation of your life. Your life can be full of amazing things, magical things, wonderful things. And yet, if you get to the end of your lifetime and you haven't made that experience your priority and done everything you can to live it, then somehow you're missing the point. Somehow you're missing the point. We get identified with all of the things that are not so important. You know, we develop these beliefs and these ideas in our mind that tell us who we are and how we relate to the world. They tell us, generally a lot of them tell us that we're small, that we're not quite worthy of love, that we're limited somehow, you know? Are you familiar with thoughts like that? Does anybody have thoughts like that? I know you do, because if you didn't, you wouldn't have come here. But it's not right. We struggle against that the whole time, but it seems so real because the structure is what we think is us. The structure of that limitation is simply the mind. It is the thoughts in the mind. The beliefs that we have cultivated through our life experience that appear to be true. They appear to be true. They feel true, but they're not. And so if you want to be free of those things, you have to find some path, some tool that will enable you to change your relationship with those things, to allow you to go beyond that limiting structure. It doesn't have much power. It seems like it does when you're in the middle of it, but I can tell you from my own experience that freedom from those thoughts is easy. But the number of paths that'll help you do that is quite small, actually. It's very, very small. To change your relationship to those patterns and those thoughts and those beliefs so radically that what's left is a clear experience of yourself beyond those things. Within every single one of you, continuously is an experience of infinite silent presence. It's your immortal self, actually. It's perfectly whole and absolutely free always. And the only reason why we don't experience that is because some of those beliefs are still so attractive, we think that's us. You know what I mean? I'm not quite worthy of that. That's not true. That's a pipe dream. That's for other people, not for me. Or if you've become really jaded, that's not even for other people. It's not for me, and it's not for them. I will not let myself be happy and free, and I damn well will not let you be either. It's excellent. But as you start to be able to distance yourself from those things, what you begin to discover is a different sense of self, a different sense of you. A you that is so clear and so clearly not limited by anything that the world can come up to you, the world can walk right up to your face and say, hey, you're really not that big, stay small, don't be too happy. Don't walk down the street like you're enjoying your life. That's not what we want to see, you know. But you're so free of it, you just kind of look at it and you go, nah. No, I'm going to stay happy. Relationship with all of that movement that it no longer affects your peace. And it's not the kind of peace where you're just walking around namasteing everybody, right? It's a peace that never fades. It's an alive, vibrant experience where you can engage the rest of your life fully. See, I used to have this concept that I kind of shied away from spirituality a little bit because I had a concept that it was going to make my life very dull and flat, kind of bland in some way, you know, that I would lose my zest and my passion. And while that may be the case in some circumstances, a true spiritual path will bring your life more alive, more vibrant, and more rich almost continuously. Every single moment of the rest of your life becomes more full, right? It's not losing that, it's actually allowing you to engage it fully. Because there's nothing that's held outside of the experience. You want to allow everything into that experience. But you need to find a path that'll help you do that. And the reason is you cannot do it on your own. You cannot discover that experience and maintain it and develop it on your own. It can't be done. The reason is the only possibility would be the mind is trying to think its way out of itself. Right? Does that seem ludicrous to any of you? It's absolutely ludicrous to me. The mind cannot think its way out of itself because thinking is what got you out of yourself in the first place. You can't do it on your own. You need a tool, you need a practice, you need a path. You need some way to allow yourself to surrender the linear mind, the thinking mind, to the presence of infinite mind that lies just beyond. But Jesus was absolutely right. The kingdom of heaven, your highest desire, everything you could possibly dream of in a good way, everything is within you now. That whole experience is within you now. And the only possibility that you're not living that continuously is that you're looking in the wrong place. Just a tiny little shift of attention to the wrong thing. You know? Isn't that amazing? It's the only possibility. Yes?
For example, if someone's sick,
Mm-hmm.
if they change their focus, that means that they can recover fully.
It's possible. It's possible. But they can be in joy even if they don't recover fully. It's a possibility. Anything's possible, right? Anything's possible. See, the mind, the linear mind, all of those patterns and beliefs, that's the realm of impossibility. That's the realm where nothing's really possible, where magic is dead. Once you let go of that, you're in the realm where anything is possible. As a living experience, right? It's like you're walking around and the expectation in every moment is of miracles, actually. And they tend to occur. They tend to occur. But the beautiful thing about being free is that what the mind will do is exactly what you said. It will put conditions on my freedom. I'll be free when my body has healed itself. I'll be free when my bank account is in better shape. I'll be free when, whatever, my husband stops being this way or that way, or my wife, or my neighbor, right? We all have conditions on it, and yet what you want is something unconditional. And true freedom has no conditions, right? Your body may or may not heal, but it's possible that you can be in such a state of bliss that it's not really that important one way or the other. But yeah, anything's possible. You have to have the experience for yourself. It will definitely change your relationship to physical pain. Mm-hmm. Definitely. The intensity of the experience of physical pain can change dramatically. Multiple sclerosis. And her body was really advanced, really advanced. Like she was very, very close to death at the time, actually. She had to be carried around, and I don't know if you've ever seen anyone with multiple sclerosis. It's quite wasting, and there's quite a lot of pain too. You know? And so she would come to meditation courses, and people would carry her down the stairs, right? And she was blissed out all the time. It was radiating from her. She took nothing seriously. Would she have liked to heal her body? Absolutely. Of course she would have done. But she had changed that priority, and she was one of the most blissed out people I've ever been blessed enough to be in the presence of. And in that, she taught a lot of people a lot of great lessons. A lot of great lessons. You don't want to put conditions on your freedom, ever. Because it just delays it, you know? What a tragedy. One of the tricks of the mind, one of the tricks that your mind has is it'll tell you you're always going to have another moment. I'll get around to it later, you know. Let's take freedom out of it. You know that in your relationship with your loved ones sometimes. You have an argument with someone and you feel like you're right. You're like, I'll just hang on to this for a little while. We'll get around to making up later, because we'll have a later, you know. Mind always tells you got a later. You can get around to living the purpose of your life later. Don't do it now. We've got a Mercedes to get, or whatever, you know. There's something more important. And then one morning you wake up and you realize you didn't have it later anymore. And you wasted it. There's two ways you can leave your body. There's two ways you can leave your body at the end of your lifetime. You can explode out of your body and knowing absolutely that you did everything that you came here to do. That was amazing. And the other possibility is that you leave your body and you go, everything that I thought was so important and I made important in my life was not that important. And I didn't do what I came here to do. They're your two possibilities. So I only had 15 minutes here and I had no idea what I was going to talk about, but I guess if I was going to talk about anything, I want to leave you with that. Don't get to the end of your life and wish you had done it different. Nothing you've done in the past ever can hamper your ability to be truly free. If you know what you want, There's nothing about you that's happened in the past that can prevent you from having the experience. Nothing. Do not let the mind look back to the past and tell you you're guilty for something you're not. You're not. If you could truly see how magnificent you are, you wouldn't waste another second. You know, spirituality, take that right out of it. Realizing what you're here to do, living your life's purpose is not a difficult thing. It doesn't require you to become something other, to learn to become something different. It doesn't require you to change any of your behaviors. It doesn't require you to change anything about your past. Everything that happened in the past played out. Do not look back and feel guilty for any of it. Everything you want is within you, and you have the possibility of experiencing it. Do not waste it. Don't get to the end of this lifetime and realize you deny not a ray of the divine. You are the totality of it. You are the totality of it. And you have a nervous system that will allow you to have that experience for yourself. To awaken from the dream of being a separate individual me and experience the magnificent, immortal you. Absolutely full and rich and yet empty of anything limited. You have that possibility. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't believe for a second there's a different purpose to your life. There isn't. That's why you're born, to be free. The whole reason that you don't experience being free is you're identified with a simple pattern, a thought, that's all it is, that maybe you can't quite see yet. The possibility exists that you can let it go and discover who you really are. And it doesn't have to take a long time. In fact, it can take that long. In fact, it does take that long. And it's quicker than that. It sometimes takes years and years and years to get to the point where we're willing to do that, but it's really not a big deal. There's a good possibility those of you I haven't met before will leave here and within 3 steps from the front door of the store you'll deny that you heard it. You'll believe you didn't understand it, or even that you don't want it, but you heard it. You heard it. Separation and suffering is a dream. That's all it is. It's born of identification with the movement of the mind, and you can let go of that identification and discover the part of yourself which is eternally free. It's not limited to some yogi in the Himalayas. You don't need to learn how to stretch. You don't need to wear a nappy. You don't need to be a vegetarian, although you can be. You just got to remember how to let go. Which is good news. Very good news. And I'm guessing that the 15 minutes is pretty much up. But I will say this. I want Saraswati in the corner, will you put your hand up? Move towards this experience. Chat with Saraswati when we're done here. She has information for you. It may not be who have transcended that structure of limitation. Well, your family, your friends, your loved ones, your neighbors, your community, they need to see somebody who's living from a state of infinite freedom. They may not recognize it consciously, but the biggest part of them is starting to go, ooh, it's possible, right? You owe it to the world to be free. You do. You owe it to the people you say that you love. And you owe it to yourself. So I'm very willing to sit here for as long as you want, and if you have any questions, ask them. But I think I've been very good at staying in my allotted amount of time. In your mind, there's constant feeling, there's constant thought, there's constant belief, there's a constant dialogue actually happening in your head all the time. There's a constant dialogue happening in your head all the time. So what your mind moving, you just need to change your relationship to it. Now that's going to make almost zero sense for you to hear that, but the possibility exists for you to experience it. But with every single state of mind, no matter how beautiful or painful they are, there is something greater. There is something greater. You get to experience all of that, but for that to be the totality of what you think you are, you're stuck. You're in the realm of the changing, right? You're at the will of the universe. And suffering and pain is always possible. Once your identification has gone beyond that, pain and suffering become impossible, actually, regardless of the experience. And that's your birthright. That's what you can have. The world's not here to hurt you, actually. It just hurts because we forgot who we were. Once you start to remember, your relationship with life changes completely. And that's a good thing, right? Yeah. You know, you can live every moment of your life like you were playing, like when you were a little kid and you played. Do you remember playing when you were a child? Yeah. Everybody played at least for some moments when they were a child, and they were free. Anything was possible. Anything was possible. And then when we grow up, for some reason, we forget that. But you can live like that. You can live your life like that, like it's play. Like it's not such a serious big deal, you know. I'll tell you that a practice of meditation is invaluable. Do you meditate? Yeah. Is it hard work? Yeah, you need to find a different meditation. Yeah, and I'll tell you, I would recommend nothing higher than the practice of ascension that the Ishayas teach. And I'm not saying that because there's Ishayas in the room. I'm saying it because that's my practice. It is the simplest, most direct, purest form of self-discovery that I think is available on the planet, actually. Yeah.
What about transcendental meditation?
Transcendental meditation? Beautiful. Ascension's more powerful. Yeah. But there's nothing wrong with that because it's about the guidance you're receiving. If it's helping you immediately change your relationship to movement, to experience silence, then it's wonderful. There's nothing wrong with the technique as such. But you want guidance that helps you access that space immediately, because it's easy. And that's what's not taught. It's not a difficult thing for you to have that experience. It is invaluable that you meditate, that you find a path that's simple and direct. That's invaluable. With guidance that'll help you change your relationship to that movement. Yeah. That's why I would recommend that. How do you maintain it? Eventually it maintains you, actually. Your whole relationship with who you believe you are in one magical moment can be turned upside down completely. So you don't need to worry about that. You just do your practice and get out of your own way. Yeah. But you don't have more thoughts in your head than anybody else. And your thoughts are not more dramatic or limiting than anybody else's, right? So it's not hard for you. So yeah, I would definitely have a chat with these people after the talk. And do it on your own, but I promise you it won't work. And you're absolutely right. The killer is the expectation. And then the mind's expectation doesn't get met, it starts questioning, and you're stuck. But you can't get out of that loop on your own. I'm pretty certain you can't. You can keep trying if you want. I'm pretty certain you won't do it. Yeah, so when you're ready, come ask me or any of the guys, right? It can take an instant. Ding. You have the possibility of beginning brand new. Brand new. Every single moment you get the opportunity to start brand new. You have never, ever, ever made any mistakes. You may feel like that, but you haven't. Every single one of you has the potential to be free. Don't get to the end of the life and wish you'd done it. Because then you just got to come back and do it again, right? You've come so far. So, it was nice to come here. I used to come into this store and buy books when I lived in London for a little while. It's a wonderful store. Thank you.